Hello to YouTube. Hello to Lys Mara. Welcome to your lesson. Why? Hey, why is this not showing up? There we go. Okay, perfect. It's already working. Hello. Yes, I'm doing well. How are you doing? Good. 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 Okay, how has your homework been going? Obviously, I've seen some of the clips you've been sending me in the ticket. They sound pretty good. Yeah, how's it been going? No worries. Let me just fix this real quick. Is that any better, YouTube chat? You guys should be able to hear me totally fine. Yeah, okay, yeah, I've just turned Lys Mara up. In fact, I've just turned it up to max. Okay, should be fine now. Yeah, okay, so, alright, you sent me a whole bunch of things in the ticket, which were really useful. Let me go back to that real quick and have a little nosy through them and remind myself. Okay, yes. All right. Let's start off with some warm-ups, and then we're going to talk about a little bit of stuff and play. I want to play with some of your larynx height stuff, if that sounds good to you.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. All right. If you want to just follow my lead with some lip trills. Make sure you allow yourself to go into falsetto if it feels like your voice is going that way.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, when we go to those higher pitches, I think we had this a bit last time. When we're going into those higher pitches, does it feel like we're pushing to get to that higher pitch?
No, I am trying to relax a bit consciously, like you said last time.
No worries. Did I do the size with you last time? Like,
yes, you did.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try using some of those to help us here. So first, I want you to just give me a really big, and like I want your physical body to relax as you do it, like a big. Okay. Can we start from a higher point? Good. Okay. Now can you do that in reverse? Nice. Okay. Do you feel how that sounds a little bit different to how you're doing with lip trills?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, that's what I want us to be
I
going
think so,
for.
yeah.
So like, it's the difference between like, and, you can hear how there's like a squeezing to the second one. And I'm worried that you're doing a little bit of squeezing in yours. So let's try to avoid that and keep it nice and relaxed as we go high. Just like you did in that like reverse sigh. Okay? So then, same thing with the lip trill.
Okay, yeah.
Nice. That was really good. Well done. Okay. A little bit of tightness there, but it wasn't too much, so not too bad. And then up to the maximum range and the maximum like low range. Okay. Very good. And then up to the top, we'll do a little siren. Okay, and then the same thing going down. Nice. Okie dokie. Right, so let's have a little play with your cheeses. Because in the little clip you sent me, there was something I wanted to point out with it. So if you want to just go straight off the back, because I know that you know the drill pretty well, we'll go for those big cheese, little cheese into some talking. And you can tell me about what you've been up to the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Cheese. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I have been pretty busy for the last 2 weeks, I guess, in terms of voice rec. I have sort of been trying to actively move away from a lot of my old bad habits in terms of larynx. And that's, I think, as I mentioned in the ticket, that's really making me notice that I have like a lot of conflations and like things that I subconsciously do, not really noticing. Like, especially, I think I notice a lot of pitch changes when I try moving my larynx around, which I didn't really notice before, I guess. Yeah, but I've been pretty active, I think, making a lot of progress moving away from that.
Yeah, okay, I can tell. Even for the clip you sent me before and what I'm hearing now, big difference. I'm hearing much more of a fluid pitch movement. Like we were getting back down to our ordinary speaking pitch. We were there was quite a lot of pitch fluctuation actually, without the size changing at all, without the larynx height changing. So that's really good. I'm pretty happy with that. One thing I'm noticing there is there seems to be a lack of like what I'll call strength in your voice there. So you can hear in your normal talking, and you can hear me talking right now, there is like an ordinary level of power. I'm not kind of talking like this, whereas it's almost like struggling to get out a little bit. And we're sort of in that point where it's like about to become a whisper, but not quite. So can we get a little bit more like oomph? But basically up the volume a little bit. Get us like an ordinary speaking volume with enough like oomph to carry it.
Right.
Make sense?
Okay. Yep.
Cool. And yeah, tell me more about what you've been up to the past couple of weeks. And like, as you try, I imagine what's going to happen is you're going to go into exactly where we just were. But if you can get to that spot again, that's fine. And then from there, try to, as you talk, just bring the volume up a little bit. And possibly we'll be looking at bringing a tiny bit more weight, but we'll see. I just want some strength in your voice.
Okay. Yeah. Cheese. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess for some reason the only thing I can think of that I have been doing is just in terms of voice work right now. I've definitely been doing other things too. But I guess I've also been super active in a lot of the events over at Linguistics.
Nice.
I've been trying to consistently attend lounges, and those have been super helpful. Just to
Bring some extra
shadow a
strength
bunch
in.
of lessons, ask any questions I can think of. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. That sounds good. That's also
I've
a
also
really good
been,
idea.
I guess, trying to get better at.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
I've also been trying. Excuse me. I've also been trying to get better at giving feedback. So I've been practicing a lot more, just with what I do know over on
Nice.
linguistics and on trans voice, just with simple stuff.
That sounds awesome. Okay then, so we had a little bit more power in there, but we still had a little bit of sort of, there's a waviness to your voice. So like we're kind of like over here where it's sort of like it's kind of struggling to maintain that consistency to it. It's sort of like I'm struggling to emulate it in my own voice. It's kind of like over here where it's like a little bit wavy and like lacking in a little substance there. What's really happening is we're basically going to like a very, very, very lightweight. So much so that like it's struggling to actually maintain full closure. Like I bet if you went just a smidgen further, we'd have like some discontinuity issues. So yeah, what I'm just wanting is a bit more oomph. Like let's say if I was to put you on a scale of like 1 to 10 in terms of your perceptual weight or your quotient, if you're to use linguistics terms, this is like a 1 out of 10 in terms of our open quotient, and I'm just looking for like a 1.5 or a 2 out of 10. So just a smidgen extra to get that extra bit of fullness in your voice, to give you the strength and stability for it to actually like sit upon. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, that
Okay.
makes sense.
Okay. All right, give that a go. And you can tell me about you've been like giving people feedback and stuff, trying to improve your feedback. Are we wanting to take that somewhere? Are you wanting to do teaching in the future? Where's this going?
Okay. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess I haven't really thought of it in terms of like, I guess, teaching. I think I've just sort of been for like past, I guess, month and a half, a little more maybe, really like hyper fixated on voice, and I'm finding it just really interesting to figure out all the like dynamics of how it works and how to change it. And I feel like I really just enjoy learning more about it.
Yeah,
So
nice.
I think I found that a really good way of like quickly improving my knowledge of it and getting better at putting it in like concise terms is to give feedback. And it also is, I think, also a bit of what motivated me was that I find that I like obviously I don't know anything near as much as you and
It's
Winter,
okay.
but like after Kathy was banned, there's sort of been a void for like beginner questions because Kathy was like always online, so she'd answer immediately.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times I'd find like I know how to answer that because I can just regurgitate what you and Winter would say,
Yeah, sure.
and yeah, that's worked pretty well for me.
That sounds awesome. That's really cool. It's really cool to have someone filling that space in with trans voice, because I know I struggle to be
Sorry, you're
consistent over
cutting
there.
out.
Oh, I'm cutting out. Am I cutting out on the YouTube side, or is it just for the Discord call? People in YouTube, let me know. In terms of my end, it says that
Okay,
I'm not cutting out.
YouTube is fine. Let me.
Okay, might be something on your end then.
I can hear
Let me
you on
just check.
YouTube. Yeah.
Let me just check my settings real quick. Make sure there's nothing in Discord that's messing us up. Should be fine. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, Discord says it's picking me up totally fine. Might be something on your end then. Are you still having issues on the Discord side?
I can unmute YouTube here.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you might have a slight delay there. But yeah, that's totally fine. Okay, so firstly, that's awesome that you're doing that in trans voice in places. Because that's cool to have someone there to do that. Because I know I can't be super consistent over there. Okay, we're still having a little bit of weakness in our voice there, but it's not too much that I'm bothered about it particularly. How do you feel about your voice when we're in that brighter area, in that raised larynx area? How do you feel about the sound of the raised larynx itself? How do you feel about the overall quality to the voice? Yeah.
I think in oh god, this is so weird. I can hear
Yeah,
my own
it's gonna be
voice.
weird. Remember to mute when you're talking.
Sorry. Okay. Right. I think in terms of like the, I guess, larynx side, I feel like I'm pretty much where I was before, like when I was doing it with the direct manipulation. So I'm at least happy that I can achieve that without, like, without the actual direct manipulation. But I guess I do still feel like you said, I have like it's a very weak voice. I have sort of noticed that, but I'm not really sure what, like I wasn't really sure what would cause that, and I do feel like I still subconsciously change like pitch and weight and stuff when I don't really mean. I'm not really meaning to. Like, yeah, I change my mindset, and the other things just change without like any conscious input from me.
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, let's take a moment to talk about pitch, because I think that will be particularly helpful, and just a very easy thing to fix real quick. What's a tune that just exists like cemented in your brain, like the McDonald's tune or the Mario tune, like ba da ba ba da ba ba, like something that is like just there, solid. Any tune, any simple little silly tune.
Yeah, I think the Mario tune works.
Mario tune? Okay, Mario tune works for most people. Okay, we're going to do the cheese drill. And then at the end of the phonation test, like so, cheese, 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 cheese. And then at this point, we'll go da 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 da. And your goal is to not drop your larynx while still having the pitch shifts that come with doing a little Mario theme. Okay? Whenever you're ready.
Okay, yeah. Cheese, 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 cheese. Da 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 da.
Good. Okay. Didn't hear much of a larynx drop there, so that's good. That's good. Okay. From there, we're going to continue our little Mario theme and just add like a little scale going down. Okay. Cheese, 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 cheese. Ba da ba ba da ba 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 ba. Okay.
Okay. Cheese.
Nice. Okay, good. So we're getting some decent pitch movement without there being any conflation of larynx type there. So I think you're actually pretty okay with pitch. If you wanted to move your average pitch somewhere, you totally could. But what I'm hearing there is you're going high in pitch, you're going low in pitch, and your larynx height isn't really changing. What do you think about it?
Yeah, like it seems like I very much can do it. So I'm not sure why like I feel like normally during speaking it doesn't work that way for me.
Because when I hear
And it
your...
might just be, I guess, it might just be like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, because what I was going to say is when I'm hearing you talking, both ordinarily and after doing a cheese drill, like your pitch movements, there's no real change to your speech pattern that I'm noticing. You're not going super monotonous. You haven't like pitched up during the raised larynx. I think it's... I'm not hearing a super huge conflation. In your clip that you sent me earlier, I thought there was a bit of a conflation there. But in what you're showing me right now in lesson, I'm not really hearing much of a conflation. But do you feel differently? Do you feel like there is a bit of confusion there?
Yeah. I think in terms of at least what I'm doing right now, no, I'm not seeing the conflation anymore.
Nice.
It sounds I guess before I was particularly noticing it because I was working on high and low larynx at the same time, and I was always noticing that my low larynx would always be lower pitch when I speak out of the drill.
Sure, let's try that then. So we'll do the pause. Okay.
Okay. One, two, three, four, five. I'm sorry. Habit.
That's okay. Okay. I'm hearing your larynx height slide up a little bit, but only a little bit. I think maybe if you practice your lower larynx a bit more, you would find it not sliding as much. But that just sounds like its own isolated issue. How did you feel about the pitch there?
Maybe a little more monotone. I think probably just because I was more focused on the larynx, but honestly, I'm not noticing the issues I was seeing before.
Okay, that's good. Because I noticed actually we had quite a high pitch there. Probably because I had quite a high pitch when I did it, and then you probably emulated that. Just so I could see what you would do if I did that. So yeah, honestly, I think you've managed to fix that bit on your own, which is really good to hear. Okay, let's go into... Oh, excuse me. Okay, let's go into some of that like strength in your voice thing. So to highlight more of what I'm hearing, it's a sort of there's a particularly light perceptual weight or a particular open quotient. There's a sort of, it almost sounds like a sort of anxiousness to your voice, where it's just lacking that, like, it's kind of a bit more like wavery like this, where it's lacking some real like input coming in, you know? So what I want us to do, there's a few ways I could approach this. Yeah, let's do that one. Okay, we're going to do a little role play. Okay, what I want you to imagine is we are at, I've just been shopping, okay, and you're picking me up from the shops, all right? You've just parked up and you've just seen me coming out of the store, but I can't see where your car is. I'm trying to find it in the car park. I can't find it though. So you're gonna shout and try and get my attention. Hey, Zara, hey, I'm over here. Hey, Zara. Okay, that's what you're gonna go for. All right.
Okay.
Any questions?
And I should be trying not to go into like the super lightweight, I guess.
Yeah. So what I'm hoping is that by getting this increase of like, it's not just an increase in volume, you're also trying to get my attention. And when we try to get people's attention, usually we'll instinctively add a little bit of to our voice, add a little bit of slightly more close quotient. So I'm hoping that the scenario is going to help you do that intuitively.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right, whenever you're ready, get my attention.
Cheese. Hey, Zara. Hey, I'm over here.
Hey, Zara.
Hey,
Hey,
can you see me?
Hey, Zara. Hey, over here. Get my attention.
Hey, Zara, can you see me? I'm over here.
Hey, Zara. Hey, Zara. Hey, over here. Give me some oomph. It's a busy, loud car park. I'm not going to hear you unless you shout to me. I know this is awkward.
Hey, over here. Can you see me? Zara.
More. Give me some energy.
Okay.
Hey, I'm over here. Hey.
Hey, I'm over here. Hey, can you see me? Zara.
Okay. I reckon we could definitely go more energy than that, but this has solved the issue. Okay? Do you hear how in your voice now we aren't getting any of that weakness of your voice?
Okay.
Like it's a stable, kind of ordinary speaking level.
Yeah.
Yeah? So this is what we want to go for.
Yeah, it's much more immersive. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll do this as a layers drill. So first do your cheeses like you were, then do your getting my attention, and then bringing your volume back down to speaking level. Can we keep that same like substance to the voice whilst you just talk to me? And you can tell me about, excuse me. You can tell me about what are some of the cool things you've been learning about voice, other than like what we do in lesson. What's the coolest thing you've recently learned?
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Zara. Hey, can you see me? I'm over here. Hey. I think, right, so I have been trying to like sort of balance the, I guess, voice training and voice fun. So one thing I've been trying to learn recently is how to like do false forward screens.
Awesome.
And I'm very bad at them, but it's quite fun.
That's fucking sick. You're definitely going to demo that at some point in this lesson.
Yeah.
Okay, what I'm hearing is as you try to get my attention there, your larynx is dropping a bit, and then afterwards you went back to base level. So let's try do the get my attention. Try to keep your larynx raised to the same level as the cheese is brought, and then again still try to keep them raised as you go into a talking. We also struggle to keep that energy into the talking voice. So like, try to bring a sort of like, so if we're kind of talking like this normally, we're then going to go to a sort of, hey Zara, hey. Okay, and then we're trying to bring this into our voice. So I still have that bit of energy that came from that raised voice, but I have it as at least close to normal speaking volume. I probably have like a slightly louder voice right now, but as like a stepping stone for you, and then we can go another step afterwards to bring you over to like over here, where I still have that same strength to my voice, but I'm a much quieter voice now. Yeah, how does that sound?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions before we go for it?
No, I think I got it.
No. Okay. Nice. Why don't you tell me about how did you learn fry scream?
Cheese. Hey, hey Zara, hey, I'm over here. Can you see me? Hey, uh, I've been, I think it was because I heard Charles mention in one of the lessons that I was shadowing, uh, he mentioned epiglottal screams, and I realized, oh wait, that's really easy to do. Like, epi- using the epiglottis in general, I guess. I don't remember if it was in the context of a scream in particular, but I realized that's really easy to do. And then I thought, hey, why don't I try out fry screams? So I just looked it up, and I have been following like I think 4 different tutorials, sort of oscillating between them because they all say like wildly different things, and I'm just using whatever works for me from each.
Nice, nice. So it was false screams, not fry screams. I misremembered. Um, okay, that sounds cool as fuck. Okay, so how do we feel about this voice as we're hearing it now? Just in terms of like, how do you feel about it?
Uh, I think there was still a little bit of maybe shakiness on the larynx side, but I think in terms of stability, it was way better.
Yeah, good, good. Okay, so do you reckon you can hear in real time the shakiness of the larynx height? Or is it only in retrospect that you can really like notice it?
Um, I don't think I can noticing it from the sound. I think it's more just like I'm noticing physically my larynx is like
Right, sure.
dropping for a second and then rising back up.
Okay, try to really, okay, try to completely ignore and not even like be aware of the physicality. All right, I want you to like completely zone out of that and ignore it, so you can have
Right.
all of your primary focus on the sound. Okay. All right, and we'll go again.
Okay. Yeah.
So exact same, but 100% of the focus to be on the sound, and while completely ignoring the physical sensations. And cool. Okay. Why don't you tell me? I don't know what else I could ask about screams. Why don't you tell me what else you've been learning? What other cool shit is there?
Maybe. Okay. Sure. Cheese. Hey, hey Zara, I'm over here. Can you see me? Hey. Uh, I guess something else I've been. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Um, I'm not actually sure how to pronounce it. Kanoodle, the Kermit thing.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, so I've been playing around with that, and I found that um, I was getting really bored with it super quickly because I was doing a lot of mimicry. So what I ended up doing instead was like um, just singing with it, which was a really good like
Cool.
I guess trial by fire of having to keep it steady and like keep it there.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice. Excuse me. Okay, so what I'm mainly noticing is as we go into the getting my attention drill, we're having a big, big drop in our larynx height. So if you think about sound, we're going for like our cheese drill is brilliant. Cheese, 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 and then we're kind of bringing this kind of a voice in. But then we do the getting my attention, and then we go like, hey, hey Zara, hey, hey, and we have this big drop here. Where now like, as I then go into talking, I have this like slightly lowered larynx compared to where before I was all the way over here. Okay, so try to really bring in that, or really carry through that phonation test sound into getting my attention. If you need to, and it might help you a little bit, just speak for like a brief moment, or even just like count up to 5 after the phonation test, just so you can like sit with the sound a little bit and hear it for a little bit. and then take it into the getting my attention drill. Yeah, just to like cement it in a little bit more. How does that sound?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, okay, nice. And you've been doing canodal stuff. That's pretty cool. You've been doing it through mimicry. Have you played with the spoon test or the spoon method as one question? Canodal's pretty cool. Have you played around with rumble? Because rumble's something that you can do is like a next step up of like another tone thing that starts off with like a canodal thing, and you take it from there.
Okay. Cheese, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, Zara, hey, over here, can you hear me?
Louder.
I'm over here.
Hey, Zara, hey, Lys Mara.
Hey, Zara, can you hear me? I'm over here.
Hey, Zara,
hey.
can you hear me? Bring that larynx back up and get me nice big bunch of volume.
Okay. Hey, over here. I'm over here. Can you see me?
Raise the larynx more. Use the drill if you need to.
Okay. Cheese, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm over here. Hey, can you see me? I'm over here. Zara.
Volume more. Hey, Zara, hey.
Over here, can you see me?
A little bit more volume.
Over here. Oh, I dropped again, sorry.
That's okay. So re-drill, and then go again.
Cheese, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, Zara, I'm over here. Over here on this side. Look here. Hey.
Okay, I can take that. Okay, so yeah, that, and then tell me about the stuff I asked about canodal. Like, have you played around with the spoon thing? How did you find that? Have you played on a rumble? How did you find that? Yeah.
Okay. No, I actually haven't played around with the spoon thing. I don't know what that is, actually. I'm assuming it's like, I guess, sticking a spoon into your mouth or something and trying to talk with it.
Kinda.
Or I guess into the back of your mouth. That sounds really stressful.
It is.
But I don't actually know what it is.
Okay, that's fine. Do you know what rumble is?
And no, I actually don't think I know what that is either.
Okay, cool. Well, there are two things that come from canodal. The spoon method is a way to get into canodal. It's essentially you try to. It doesn't work if you have a really strong gag reflex. But basically, you stick the spoon about as far into your mouth as possible before it becomes like always a gag reflex. And it should sit on the back arch of your tongue. And then you use basically the back of your mouth to manipulate the tongue moving up and down, kind of like a seesaw action where like we're moving this so that moves. We're trying to move it up a bit. And by doing that triggers you to also close off your epiglottis, and closing off or at least partially close off your epiglottis, which is what canodal actually is. It's a partial closure of your epiglottis. And then talking through that. Rumble is where we sort of have the epiglottis closed but only loosely closed, so that then as air comes through it can sort of like open and close it, kind of like phonation or like a lip trill. You've got essentially an epiglottic trill. So you can if I kind of talk like this is me having this kind of a canodally kind of a voice, and if I just add a little bit of this to it, this is me now talking with a rumble. I'm not very well practiced in rumble, but yeah, that's what rumble is, and it's basically just that epiglottis being like loosely covering and then like vibrating as air comes out of it. You hear it in like Louis Armstrong. Am I getting that right? For like famous jazz singer. He's got like a very heavy rumble voice. Yeah, there's your little trivia on some extra Knurdle stuff. Okie dokie. So, in terms of your voice here, that one was much, much brighter larynx, like much more raised larynx, and had that bit of power behind it. So, that was really nice. So, boo, 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 boo. Let's go again. And what can I ask you about now? I feel like I've run out of things there. Excuse me. Boo, 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 boo. I should go for a topic shift. Why don't we just go completely off random? What is your favorite video game? Or if not video game, then something similar to that. You just tell me about it.
Okay, and I'm doing the same thing of the cheese drill into screaming at you into talking about the topic.
Yeah, absolutely, and make sure we're really keeping that raised larynx and getting that volume. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Cheese. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, Zara. Hey, over here. Can you hear me? I'm over here on this side. Yeah. Okay. I think. Okay. So I think when I'm thinking of my favorite video game, I'm thinking of things I haven't played in years and years. Because there's like I have a lot of nostalgia for like Wii games because that was my first console. Not to make anyone feel old, but
Awesome.
Yeah, I think Super Mario Galaxy. I loved that. I'd constantly be playing that over and over.
Nice. Super Mario Galaxy was well fun. Okay, we're definitely getting a big drop during our yelling. Did you notice the drop at all? It's okay if you didn't.
Yeah, this time I did notice it, particularly towards the end.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so first of all, always rejoil if we notice it. Always rejoil. Yeah, so I really want us to try and carry that into the shouting. I think that wants to be our main focus. So let's just do some like individuals. We're just gonna do the drill, do the shouting, and review from there. Okay, so just give me some cheese, 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 cheese. Hey, hey, Zara. Hey, hey, over here, over here. Okay, and we'll just go through that as like a individual thing.
Okay, I think there's a lot of background noise now. I hope that doesn't come through.
Sounds fine.
Okay, yeah. Cheese. Hey, hey, Zara, over here. Can you see me? I'm over here, here, on the left. Look here.
Okay, okay. Okay, pause real quick because I really need to go to the toilet. I'll be right back.
Sure, yeah.
Hello. Okie dokie. So, what I think I'm noticing specifically is I don't actually think it's a big change in our larynx height now. I think our larynx height is kind of stabilized, but we're increasing our oral size quite a lot when we shout. It's like, to demo the difference, okay, it would be like, hey, hey, Zara, hey, hey, hey. You can still hear that, like, my larynx is actually quite high, but my mouth space is quite large, okay? Hey, hey, hey. Whereas if I keep my mouth space the same as it was and just don't change it, now I have my same voice as ordinary, okay? Hey, 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 hey. Do you hear that, like, difference there? There's like a hollowness to it.
Yeah, I hear that.
Mm-hmm.
I think
And
that
yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. So try to see if our mouth shape can just not really change as we shout. Like there's going to be some increase, but certainly your tongue shouldn't be changing at all. And nothing like, yeah, like our volume doesn't come from our mouth being larger. To some extent, you're probably going to be a bit larger because, like, hey is just a large sound in terms of your oral space. However, the stuff in your mouth shouldn't need to change literally at all. So, yeah, let's have a go with that and see if you can listen for that sound and see if you can reduce the change happening. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Cheese. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, hey, Zara, I'm over here. Hey, can you hear me?
Way
Over here on
better.
the left. Hey, Zara.
Way, way, way better. Do you hear that difference?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I could hear that quite easily.
Yeah? Good. Okay, so that's what we want to maintain as we bring some more energy into our voice. Now that we've been doing some talking while being surrounded by that shouting as well, have you noticed that your voice has started to have a bit more energy to it? Both when you're just talking to me and also when you're doing drills.
Yes, I have.
Yeah?
I think actually now that it's being brought up, I have noticed in the past that because I think in general I tend to talk a little quietly.
Hmm.
So like I've noticed that screaming and then talking helps, like to make my voice a bit more stable for some reason.
Yeah, sure, sure. So I think this is something that is going to be your homework. So just keep practicing both, excuse me, using the cheese drill to get us the big cheese, little cheese. Using that paired with a shouting drill. And within that, try to just make sure that other things don't come into play. With other things, I'm mainly thinking about that oral space. Okay. If you do find yourself struggling with the oral
Okay,
space thing, you'll be familiar with the E speaking from E drill from linguistics, the embouchure drill.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, so that will help you as well if you start struggling. But I noticed that I didn't need to give you a prompt and you were able to just fix it straight away, which I wanted to check if you were able to do that. So I'm not really too worried. But if you find yourself being like, wait, how do I do this again? In terms of fixing the oral space, the embouchure drill will help you with that. Okay, cool. Any questions so far?
No, I think I am following.
Yeah? Cool. Okay, let's go for one more drill for the road then, before we finish up.
Okay. Cheese. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, hey, Zara, over here. Can you hear me? over here on the left. I'm here in the car waiting.
Nice. That's really good. I realized I forgot to give you a prompt to like continue the talking afterwards. You know what? Okay.
I'm fine, yeah.
One more of them. Okay. And tell me some more about this false screaming. And after you finish telling me about the false screaming, let's have some false screaming. Okay? Let me hear it. I want to hear it.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Disclaimer again that I'm not great at it, but I will try.
That's fine.
Sorry, still on a delay, yeah. Cheese, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, Zara, I'm over here. Hey, can you hear me? Over here on the left. Hey, Zara. Hey. Yeah, okay. So, I think this is actually something that I have sort of in the past accidentally like started working on. I think I'm gonna redrill, sorry. Cheese, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I have in the past had like a lot of issues with false fold construction, and that sort of, I think in playing around with trying to not do that, I sort of got a sense of like, oh, this is where my false folds are, and like this is how I actively like contract and retract them, and like obviously I don't do that during talking, but I think that prior experience was super helpful for like getting straight into it. Like, oh, that intuitively makes sense. I just need to like try this out and like, play around with it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Give me some fry. Sorry, give me some full scream.
Okay, I will try.
Nice.
Okay,
It's a cool
I
start.
lost it immediately.
Hey, it's a cool ass start. Nice. I'll take that. I can see where you're going with that. Yo, sick. Okay. In time, once that's a fully developed fry scream, you're sending me clips of that. That's going to be cool as fuck. I don't think we have a fry screamer in our community yet. Sorry, I keep saying fry screamer. False fold screamer. So that's pretty fucking cool. It's on my bucket list of things to learn as well. Fab. Okie dokie. So,
I'm seeing or any indication, then the singing world is constantly using like either term for it. So
yeah. Yeah, the singing world is something that, as you explore it more, you're going to find it a very strange world to explore. Partly because everybody teaches it quite differently. There's a lot of stuff that's like just words that don't make sense, which is going to be fun to navigate. People still use things like head voice and chest voice. Even in like literature, people use head voice and chest voice. It's crazy to me. So be prepared for that. But yeah, explore it. Sounds fun. Cool. Okay. Running to the end of our lesson time now. Have you got any questions about anything we've gone over today?
No, I think I have a fairly clear direction.
Yeah, cool. So your homework is basically just repeat what we've been doing here. Try to make sure we're really getting that that same larynx height, that same embouchure. It's not quite the same as embouchure, but that same oral size as we're going into the shouting, and make sure we're getting some volume.
Yeah.
And I think as part of your practice, just see how shouty you can get while maintaining that same that same larynx height, that same intraoral space. And yeah, just see how far you can take it. Because even in these drills, I have noticed you're not really shouting at me. So I want to see like how shouty can Lys Mara get, you know? Alrighty then.
Yeah, I think shouting, like completely shouting is something I've struggled with in general.
Okay, sure.
But I will keep working on it. Maybe that is another skill I will learn here.
Yes, use this to help practice that. And if that's still an issue by next lesson, then maybe we'll take some time just figuring out like actual like shouting. Okie dokie. In terms of your next lesson, should I just throw you in for 2 weeks' time? That would be 4th of June.
I think if it's televised like I did this time around, I'll let you know the weekend.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Just let me know. Just let me know. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Fab. Okie dokie then. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for making this lesson public for everybody else. I suppose I don't normally do this. Let's do this time. People in the chats, do you guys have any questions about what we've been covering today? Because notice we've got a few different people in the chats. Questions from the audience. No, that's okay. Okay then, well, people in the audience, if you would like to get lessons with me, we do private lessons that are £20 each. They're just a call between myself and yourself. Or you can get public lessons just like this one today that you've been watching, and they're totally free. So just get in touch. The way to book them is to head to the Discord. And if you're on YouTube, if you look in the description right now, you'll see a Discord link. Head to the Discord, and then just like Lys Mara's put in chat just now, head to the #1-on-1 lessons. And maybe you'll have to book in with me. You just open a ticket and then we organise it between ourselves. Okay? All right. Thank you very, very much, Lys Mara, for coming, and I will see you next time. And for everybody in Discord, we're going to head over to a YouTube chat now. So I'll see you all over at YouTube.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye. Okie dokie. Hello, YouTube. Boop, 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 boop. Head over to here. And let's get some music going. We'll go this one. No, we won't. We'll go this one. If I just do that, is that going to open all of these, or is that going to open one thing to play all of them? There we go. Perfect. Nice. Okay, hopefully that volume is okay. Yeah, sorry, it starts off really loud because I played it before actually changing the volume. Okie dokie. Okay, and I haven't been able to set up the thing yet, but all credit to this music goes to Soul Strings in chat. If you want to support Soul Strings, you can head over to their Bandcamp, which I'll just grab a quick link to it. Hells yeah. Boop, 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 boop. Not this one. This is one you sent me. Oh, well, whatever. Either way, if you want to support Soul Strings' music, then head over to their Bandcamp. Yeah, so the main thing there was just I was hearing like straight away in their voice, there was, even their bass voice, there's a lot of like inconsistent, or like, what would be the right way to put it? Their voice lacked strength. Like Lys Mara's voice was just lacking a lot of strength. So what I really wanted to do was encourage them to just bring some of that strength back in. So like you could kind of see, oh, hey, Lys Mara, we're talking about you right now. Yes, I could kind of hear how like the voice was kind of over here-ish, where it was lacking much like stability into it. So I just needed to bring a little bit more strength into their voice. So my thoughts were essentially, when you shout, you have to have a lot of strength in your voice. So if we did a shouting trill, then that could encourage a little bit of that stability coming in, was my thinking. And it seemed to work pretty well. So, yeah, that was my thoughts there. That was my decision making there. Okay, let's see what chat has been saying. Oh, you got a mental block, Arctic Monkey, when it comes to Scream. Scream isn't something I've looked into super hard yet. But it's something I'd like to look into in the future. I don't really do much singing stuff. I mainly just work on sort of gender affirming voice stuff. Really random chat, but you just realised that it's your 1 year anniversary of being on HRT. Yo! That's fucking sick. I don't know what TOT means, but yo, 1 year of HRT is fucking awesome. Oh, is TOT just emoji? Lol. That's fucking sick, Arctic Monkey. Or Arctic Monkey. Let's move this camera down just a little bit so I can slouch and nobody notices. Already had to hear your own voice playing back on YouTube. Oh, yeah. That's fun. That's fun. Yeah, I don't know why you were getting that feedback, Lys Mara. Or not feedback, like cutting out of my voice. Because it seemed to be fine. Like, Discord was telling me that it was picking me up okay. So I don't know if it was an issue on your end or even what could cause that. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure what that is. Yeah, pillow screams can be good. They can encourage us to... like if we get too used to the pillow scream, then when we try to like go out of it and having some volume just on its own without a pillow, it can kind of mess with us a little bit, and it can make you go a little bit quieter because you're expecting to hear that muffling. So you can tend to like muffle your voice a little bit. So it's still good to use a pillow if you're in a situation where you can't be loud, but like try to counterbalance it with also just being loud sometimes when it is like a reasonable thing to be able to do. Oh, video was cutting out. Oh, maybe you were just having internet issues, Lys Mara. I mean, your voice wasn't cutting in and out. But maybe like your download speed, like, tanked. Generally, pillow scream is what you do when having breakdowns. That's valid. That's valid. Yeah, definitely find some time when the house is empty to just make goofy noises and do stuff that's loud. I always worry about like the neighbours for my place. Like I have got a few sound panels put up, but it's definitely not enough to do almost anything. But hey, I need to build like a stand or something. Like if I can get like a couple of metal bars, like a few metal bars that just go together, and I can just like hang up a big blanket by the back wall. I think I need something like that to just help me to like reduce some of the sound coming through the walls. Because I know we have very, very thin walls. And I figure especially when I have to like, if I'm helping somebody out in a workshop where I have to be loud during a workshop, that could be like 11 at night. Like it's not good. But also, can I just, like, yo, my hair is fucking on point today. Oof. Hells yeah. This is me, like, just throwing something together as well. Like, it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I also didn't put any lipstick on earlier, because I totally forgot. I feel like I would like to have lipstick on to complete the look. This is so weird when it's on a flipped mirror. Okay, no, this is not going to work. Hang on, let me get my camera up and we'll use that as a mirror. Okay, that's better. We'll just do something like that. Okay, that'll do. I don't even know if you guys see a difference there. I don't know if the camera picks it up enough. No, you must. Yeah, there's definitely a difference there. Mirrored view messes with my brain so much, especially because it's not just that it's both mirrored view and it's so much smaller than I'm used to. Because if I show you if I get out of the way, yeah, I'll go this way. No, wait, what? There's the mirror that I normally use for makeup. Okay, it's freaking huge. You can see the makeup there for scale. It is a huge, huge mirror. I mean, you guys saw it on stream one time. It's a massive mirror. So that's what I'm used to using. So trying to use the camera that's flipped is just oh god. I can't do my makeup with just a hand mirror. I need a big ass mirror. I need to just get a medium sized mirror to train myself to use smaller mirrors. Use a small magnifying mirror. What does that even mean? Oh no, I can understand what it means. That's kind of crazy though. But no, I need my massive mirror. I need a giant mirror. At least at the moment. I cannot do makeup without it. I really like how my hair is right now, by the way. The ends are a bit too boring. That's too little dye here. But I like this sort of mirrored image. Yeah, I like how this is sort of the gradual fade. It's faded in a really cool way this time around. I like that. This sort of oh my gosh, this is so difficult. This portion. Okay, between where my hands are now, that's pretty cool. Fuck, this is so hard when it's mirrored. Yes, this portion. Okay, there we got it. This portion here, I really like that. It's just a shame we're missing this bottom half, but the top half is really cool. I wonder if I'll do something in the future with layers or some shit where it's fades out to different colours. That could be pretty cool. Small but round mirror you hold? Yeah, I can't handle that. It just zooms in really hard. Yeah. Because you'd have to move it around to look at the different bits of your face, I'm guessing. I couldn't do it. Yeah, gradient from pink to yellow to blonde. Yeah. I think once we get to here, it's too much blonde and it's too blonde for it to really be what I'm looking for there. I want a fade from the darker pink, which you only really have an inch of here. But I want a fade between the darker pink or the proper magenta that's the actual dye color over to the sort of coppery kind of blondie, that darker blonde sort of. Fuck, this is so hard. The strip here is probably as dark as that, but I'd like this to be the color at the end. Reverse Gwen Stacy, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's what I got right now. I think not quite as far as Gwen Stacy is what I'd want. That said, let's have a look at Gwen Stacy hair. I feel like that's really cool hair. Let me do the thing. Gimme. Sure, I could go there. Yeah, what does Gwen Stacy's hair look like again? Obviously, I want Spider-Verse. Come on. Wait, did she not actually have the hair in the first one? I had not realised that at all. It's only in the second one. That's crazy. Yeah, I think if she had more dye, a stronger dyeing situation, I think that would be fucking sick as well. The actual reverse version. I would be down to try out short. This is maybe too short for me, but I think I'd be down to try out short hair sometime. Like, I definitely like this sort of the Gwen Stacy fashion sense. I feel like none of these are showcasing her hair very well. Yeah, there you go. Like, that's pretty cool. That's more what I would want if I was to try and do something like this. Hair so cool, but it wouldn't work on you? I don't know. I think it could work on a lot of people. Again, like, I don't even know if it works on me very well, but it was very hard for me to imagine because I've never been blonde. But like, blonde is... Sorry, blonde. Not blonde. Blonde is something I definitely want to try sometime. Who is that? Fair. Yeah, I'd be down to try something like this one day. Oh, there we go. Like a longer version. A longer version would be pretty cool. Maybe not this long, because I think it looks a bit silly with it having then short at the side. But yeah, like this one. That's pretty good. With a bit more dye. I feel like her hair length radically changes throughout the different scenes that we're picking up here. Like for different screenshots. Maybe it's edited. I don't know. I don't know. She's also Vi. Yeah, I know. I know. She's got a really cool voice actress. A little bit of a typecasting there, but... yeah, I don't know. I got so many ideas for what I want from like my future hair. Spider-Verse doesn't count as Marvel in your books? Damn. Spider-Verse is like the coolest thing to come out of Marvel, in my opinion. In like recent years. Like it's so much better than MCU. I'm sorry, but it is. I can see it, like it's not, it doesn't feel like Disney Marvel. I think the first one wasn't, was it? When did, what was it, Enter Spider-Verse? Pretty sure the first one was before the Fox merger. 2018. Disney Fox merger. Acquisition of, oh, 2017. Oh, then must have, if it was December of 2017, Enter Spider-Verse must have already been, like, largely finished, I'm guessing, before the merger happened. When specifically? Release date. December 14th of 2018. Oh no, a year later. Okay. Maybe this was Disney then. Okay. Fair enough. Oh, both are Sony. Of course, it's Sony. I'm stupid. Yep, you're right. You're entirely correct. Because the Spider-Man stuff is all Sony. Yep. Wait, where did I get Fox from? Fox just have nothing to do with it, do they? I'm pretty sure. Fox don't have anything Marvel. Pre-Disney acquisition. You've got your centre song? I mean, it's all been good songs so far, so... yeah. I don't really know how... I don't know how they actually dealt with the whole Sony MCU Spider-Man stuff. I'm guessing they just struck a deal so they could use Spider-Man in MCU. Yeah, I guess is Enter Spider-Man... Enter Spider-Verse, sorry. Is it still Sony? Like, is it all still owned by Sony? Featuring... yeah, okay, and is the other one also Across the Spider-Verse Sony? Produced by Columbia Pictures and Sony Pictures. Sony Animation in association with Marvel Entertainment. Okay, Marvel Entertainment, I assume, is Disney, right? Marvel Entertainment. Unless that's just like... Is that the original thing? I don't really know how that works. Who owns Marvel Entertainment? Is it still... Because I'm guessing that's just for comics themselves, rather than being things that come through it. Company was a wholly owned subsidiary of Walt Disney Company until its dissolution in 2023. I did not know that happened. It's mainly known for consumer products, licensing, and comic books, including MC, as well as its early forays into film and television, including those within the MCU. So in 2009, Walt Disney bought it. Okay. Over the years, several partnerships and negotiations with companies. Marvel, blah, 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 blah. On March 29th of 2023, Marvel Entertainment's remaining units were folded into Disney's... Oh, okay, so it's just part of the rest of Disney. It's not like... I understand now. It doesn't have its own, like, subdivision within Disney. Okay. Makes sense. You love Haley Steinfeld and her characters a normal amount. I only know Vi and Gwen. You know what? I am just going to steal your typing of her name so I don't have to type it out. What else has she been in? I feel like I know the name. Oh, she was in Pitch Perfect, wasn't she? Yeah, of course she was. Can I get more of this? Oh yeah, she was in Hawkeye, wasn't she? She's the kid, isn't she? In Hawkeye? Yeah, she's in a shit ton of stuff. Marvel Doomsday, what the fuck is that? Oh, it's not come out yet, whatever it is. She's in when Marnie was there. I wish you would tell us what character she plays. She's in a lot of Marvel stuff, Jesus. Okay, yeah, she's pretty big. Wait, why doesn't it say... Wait, what is this list? It doesn't even have fucking Arcane in it. The fuck? Okay, this is a stupid list. Hold on, hold on. Google is not doing it for us. IMDb. Here we go. Known for... Do you want to give me more than just these 4 things? What the fuck? Oh, okay, sure. This is... Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, Kate Bishop. Yeah. Cool. She's in a whole bunch of stuff. She's in the fucking Little Dicky Earth thing. Wild. Also, that's a big enough thing for it to be on fucking IMDb. The fuck? Okay, oh shit, she's had a huge successful career. Damn. Yo, she's in Romeo and Juliet as Juliet? Is that the... Oh, this is just some random version. This isn't DiCaprio. Okay, never mind. That's boring. If it ain't DiCaprio, then what's the fucking point? Well, cool. It seems like it's pretty cool. Oh, Fox had X-Men. Okay, okay. I did know that there was a thing. And Deadpool. Okay, yeah. Okay, I am correct in thinking that Fox had a bunch of stuff. Okay, portfolio. No worries. You're designing a bookmark right now. That's really cool. Movies only on Google. I don't know how it works. Yeah. Her music too. That's crazy. I was wondering because she's... it mentions her here in a bunch of like singer stuff. Yeah, like Taylor Swift, but I assume she's like acting in these. Oh yeah, acoustic cover. Cool. She did a fucking cover of Let It Go. Wait, she did stuff in Pentatonics? That's so fucking cool. Okay, I dig this person. She seems pretty cool. Sick. Okie dokie, why don't we spend... why don't we spend a little bit of time looking at what my plan was for today. Also, look how fucking sick this background is. Okay, if I open Discord, where's it going to be? Let's just do a little... Okay, it's going to be on the screen, that's fine. Discord, 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 Discord. General chat. Bring me to the transcript. Hells yeah. Okay, so this is this was a few days ago, 2 days ago. A petition was signed by enough people to force the government to have a debate on whether GRCs should be done by self-ID rather than the current system. Yeah. Can I find the... Unless it says it in here. Does it say what the full e-petition is? Oh, yes. Give me that. Give me that. I want to see exactly how it was worded in the petition. Okay. Allow transgender people to self-identify their legal gender. I believe the government should change legislation to make it easier for trans people of all ages to change their legal gender without an official diagnosis of gender dysphoria. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so given that that is the full context, like that is all we get in this petition. Oh wait, more details. Okay, I was going to say that is a really brief thing. Transgender people have a history of major discrimination in the UK and around the world. Major studies in reputable journals have shown a positive correlation between allowing trans people to live as their gender rather than their sex assigned at birth in regards to positive mental and physical health outcomes. Okay, so I'll give my take first before we read into this. Just on what's laid out in the petition, because it was the entirety of what I assume is given to there's the entirety of what is given to the government before the debate. This is a bad petition. This is not how you challenge this problem. There you need a freaking F64.0. I don't know what that is. I assume it's a form. Yeah, so, okay, there's a few issues with this. First of all, in your reasoning is faulty here, because your justification for the government changing the legal gender is that trans people have better health outcomes being allowed to live as their gender. So there's a completely different thing of like being allowed to live as your gender, which obviously you're allowed to do. Like nobody's stopping you from like transitioning and nobody's stopping you from being trans, versus changing your legal gender. So you don't have, you're presenting evidence for one thing, for one claim, to justify another claim. So these two claims are unrelated to one another. The studies haven't shown a positive correlation between trans people being recognised as a certain legal gender. It's just a completely different claim being made. So this is not good supporting evidence. I wouldn't even mention this. Instead, you would want to be mentioning like how the difficulty of obtaining a GRC has the following outcomes. And that would be your justification. if you wanted to make this. I would also say this is just strategically a bit bad. Like, given that we are in a situation where the current Supreme Court has just said that your GRC is barely even worth anything, like, we're clearly not in a space where we're going to be able to go to the complete polar opposite extreme of trans people just being treated, like, perfectly. So allow transgender people to self-identify with their legal gender. You've essentially set up a system where legal gendering doesn't exist anymore. Because if you can just switch between them whenever you want to, because that's how self-ID works, like, the only verification is you saying it. If all it takes for you to, like, be legally recognized as a particular gender is you saying it, then there essentially is no legally recognized gender, because there's nothing behind it. You can just, you do what you want. So there's no way the government would ever back this. A better idea, in my opinion, would be meet them halfway. They want something solid, give them something solid. Allow transgender people to change their legal gender based solely off a diagnosis. In my opinion, that would be a way better method of doing this, because you still make it like a million times easier to get a GRC. Just so much easier to get a GRC. You also have a following backing of, to oppose this means that you don't trust doctors to be correctly diagnosing people. You think you know better than the doctors. So you got like that on it, and free, like you're meeting them halfway, which is just much more politically effective. Like, political change doesn't happen all in one big go. That's nuts. Nobody does that. That's not how any society moves. It's little incremental steps. So take your incremental steps. Even going just diagnosis might be too big of a step. I just can't think of what would be like a smaller step. So that would be that's my take so far. And I'm guessing when we look into the transcript, the main against argument is going to be that legal gendering therefore essentially stops existing. All people are treated as gender fluid, because that is the only way that a legal system could do self-ID. You watch the debate, overall pretty good, but won't change anything. Okay, well we'll see. If you had to guess, you'd say maybe this isn't expected to pass, and it's more to push the idea closer to overturn window. Yeah, but you're not moving anything. The only way to move the overturn window is by having something change, or at least by having public discussion change in a particular way. So if it, like, you're not doing anything to actually change any window. So a more conservative idea has a better chance later. Yeah, I don't see how that would actually happen. I know what you're going for there, and I think that is the justification a lot of people use for pushing extreme ideas. Not to say this is a super extreme idea, but like relative to where we are, it's much further in the extreme. And yeah, I just don't think it works. It just doesn't seem like that's how any society does stuff. The only time when something like that works is when you actually already have the public support. So like if you look at like Black Lives Matter, like action happened there because these protests were even though protests are completely politically ineffective, there was just so much of them that shift happened. And it was still only a very small shift. Like, I can name very little of what actually happened as a result of Black Lives Matter. There were some individual police stations that did some reform. That was about it. So that shows like how that was a global movement, and the maximal change it had is some US police stations had some reform. Like, you know, it's not earth-shattering, because just and if you look at that, there were very few concrete actual ideas. There was just Black Lives Matter. The only thing that did seem to be a concrete idea is fucking defund the police, which is nuts. Nobody's ever going to do that. That was it. It was just defund the police, which is never going to happen. That's a ridiculous idea. So, yeah, I think it's much more effective to go for something actually attainable and try to attain that. But yeah. I will say though, petition's good. Petition's a lot better than just doing a protest. Doing a protest would do nothing. Enough people signing a petition forces the government to actually have a sit-down discussion. So that's good. I respect that. Yeah, I guess this isn't really going to pick up much attention from mainstream. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, let's read through it. I'm going to go to the toilet again real quick, and we'll have a little read through this afterwards. See you in a second. Petition only work in normal countries. I'm talking in British context. Probably also applies in American context. I don't really know how petitions work in America, but certainly in British context. I guess to give you context, we'll look up how this works. Petition count to force, and we'll just do that because there's two different things. How petitions work? Okay, because there's two like bars. Yeah, it's here. So you create a petition here in the UK government and Parliament site. Only British citizens and UK citizen residents can create a petition. So any British citizen or UK resident can create any petition they want. You can just go nuts. You get 5 people to support your petition. We'll tell you how to do this when you've created your petition. Okay, so you do need 5 people to start with. But if you can't get 5 people, then what are you doing? They check it and publish it. They only reject petitions that don't meet the standard for petitions, so you've got to do it right. The standards, I'm guessing, are like if your petition is just like pee pee poo poo, and that's a petition. I'm guessing they'll probably reject that one. But outside of stuff like that, they're pretty liberal with it. British citizens and UK residents can then sign your petition and can only sign a petition once. The petition committee reviews all petitions we publish. They select positions of interest to find out more about the issue raised. They have the power to press for action from government or parliament. So petitions committee can basically bypass 6 and 7 to make it happen sooner. At 10,000 signatures, your petition on the UK government and parliament site gets a response from the government. So minimum 10,000, you will get a response. They have to give a response. 100,000, considered for a debate. I thought it had to become a debate. I was going to say, petitions that reach that amount of signatures are almost always debated. I've never even seen a petition where it didn't get debated afterwards. If the issue has already been debated recently, yeah. So they just don't like spam, essentially. So you can't just, you didn't like it, the result, so just do it again. That's what you can't do. Yeah. And they can do it before it reaches 100,000. 100,000 is just what compels them. So yeah, there's the main two things, essentially. At 10,000, you will get a response. At 100,000, you will almost certainly, unless they've just debated it recently, it'll get considered for a debate. So the biggest one I can think of in recent years was after Brexit. Within, I think, a couple of months, there was a petition that got, I think, like a couple of million signatures. And yeah, that one then, there was a debate about it. Ultimately, there was no, the decision was made against doing a revote. The reasoning being that it would be basically against democracy, because you can't just like, oh, you got the wrong result, we'll just vote again until we get the right result, because that's essentially what you're doing in that situation. Even if you are against Brexit, like, that's basically what's happening there. So, yeah, that is how petitions work in the UK. In my opinion, this is a really good system, actually, because it means that if there is public support behind something, the government has to talk about it. Yeah. Okay, so let's actually discuss this debate. Okay, Dr. Ros Savage. Get a drink first. I imagine the US probably also has a similar system. I'm pretty sure they do, at least for local stuff. I imagine someone signing a petition against the government here and have it just be laughed at. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, so, Dr. Ros Savage. I beg to move that this House has considered e-petition 701159 relating to transgender people self-identifying their legal gender. It is a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, Mr. Mundell, and to bring forward this very important debate. I'm grateful to the petitioner, John Bake, and the more than 127,000 people who signed the petition, including 132 from their own South Cotswold constituency. The petition calls for a simple principle that trans people should be able to self-identify their legal gender without needing an intrusive medical diagnosis, and for people to live with dignity, not bureaucracy, and with compassion, not suspicion. Again, and I feel like this is coming from like some misunderstanding of how GRCs even work. For a GRC, you need 2 years of evidence of living as your as your gender, okay, as opposed to your sex assigned at birth. So it's like an intrusive medical diagnosis. That's not even like, first of all, most trans people are getting a medical diagnosis because that's how you get HRT. And second of all, intrusive isn't really the issue with medical diagnosis. It's not that intrusive. I've done it. It's not that intrusive. The main thing is the waiting lists. Like, the issue isn't an intrusive issue. The issue is you have to fucking wait like 10 years to get it. And then even with that, like, the issue then is fixed for waiting lists, not how is it not intrusive? So I don't know how it works in other countries, but in the UK, to get a diagnosis, you essentially you have a discussion, you have an interview, and then at the end they diagnose you. That's it. That's the diagnosis. There is no. So you would share like how long have you been feeling this way? So just one interview? Yeah. I think if through the NHS, it might be a few interviews. Like there'll be some screenings before your main interview. The purpose of the screenings is to basically, it's mainly a waiting list thing. So anything that has a really long waiting list, they do screenings. The purpose behind the screenings is literally so that they can like weed out the people that very clearly don't have this, and it's clearly something else, to direct you in that direction. So let's say it's not a gender dysphoria thing, it's and the symptoms are more in line with like something to do with autism maybe, or something to do with, I don't know, bipolar. I mean, I have no idea what tends to overlap with transgender stuff, gender dysphoria, or maybe a depression overlap. I bet there's a depression overlap. So you might be told, hey, this isn't seeming like gender dysphoria, and then it might say, hey, maybe you should pursue this line because you seem to be more in line with that. But it is just a screening, so you can't get a positive diagnosis at that point. It's just a thing that can like stop the process if it's very obvious that you don't meet the diagnostic criteria. And again, it's just to help reduce waiting lists. We have the same thing for ADHD. So I did 3 different screening appointments before I got my actual ADHD assessment. Got to head out. Have a good stream. Thank you for listening again. Yeah, you're super welcome, Lys Mara. But yeah, the actual assessment like any assessment, is just essentially it's a questionnaire being done by the expert. But yes, Mihogi's completely right. That's after you've waited 6 years. Like, it might sound like Mihogi's being like giving you the long time there. 6 years is probably more of like an average time. In fact, that might even be a little bit quick. For children, it's a little bit faster. But for adult diagnosis, like 6 years is actually probably pretty good. I think you'd be waiting close to 10 years in most clinics. See you, Lys Mara. So yeah, the waiting lists are pretty nuts. So yeah, which is why I heavily recommend anyone that can afford it. The private route, I know it can be pricey, but like it is something that I think most people, if you have a full-time job, you're probably able to save up for it. Like given that my income, I'm like just below poverty level, and have been for the last few years, but I was able to afford it. It'll suck, but like it's doable. And the reason why I would encourage it is because your waiting list goes down to months or weeks compared to years. So like it's a big fucking difference if you go private. I can't recommend it enough. It's definitely the way to go. In the UK, I would especially urge against DIY stuff because if you go the DIY route, nobody wants to work with you anymore. Like if you go DIY, you're stuck with DIY. It is depending on the clinic you go to and just depending on the particular caregiver that you're working with, like the specific doctor, you might be fine. It will still add some roadblocks, but you might be able to work around it and they might be willing to work with you. But in most cases, they will just refuse care if you've had any DIY in the past. So yeah, I would say be careful with that. If you're going to be spending all the extra money that comes with DIY, you may as well just be going the private route because it's going to be just a small amount more expensive compared to doing the DIY route. Yeah, you just get so much more benefit by going for private route. As sucky as that is, and I recognise that is sucky. That's what you got to do. Okie dokie, so let's continue this. This means allowing someone to change their legal gender through a statutory declaration that already works effectively in countries such as Ireland, Argentina. That works in Ireland? That is very surprising to me. I guess they have a smaller population, so it's a bit easier to deal with. Ireland, Argentina, and Denmark. And it does not remove safeguards. False declarations remain a criminal offence. Cool. What self-ID does is remove unnecessary medicalised hurdles that dehumanise trans people and delay access to legal rights. Many trans people already live full-time in their affirmed gender without ever applying for a GRC, precisely because the process is so inaccessible. This is 100% correct. I think it's like literally like 3 or 4%. How many? Let's just Google it. I'm pretty sure it's less than 10%. How many trans people get GRC UK? There have been a total. Yeah. Okay. This is nuts. A total of 5,871 GRCs in the past 20 years. Oh, well, between 2020 and 2005. There might have been some more in the last 5 years. But, like, that's fucking nuts. Okay? So if we just say 6,000 out of what's between 200,000? 350? So what's 3,600 as a percentage of 350, 1, 2, 3. Uh, 1%. Oh yeah, obviously. How am I so stupid? Yes, obviously 1%. Lol. Sorry. Oh wait, what am I doing? That is not the numbers at all. Hold on. 5,000. We'll just say 5,900. Sorry. Sorry. I don't know where I got those numbers from. 5,900. So like 2%, right? Ugh. Okay, a bit less than 2%, whatever. It's 0.03%. Okay, thank you. Wait, really? Damn. Wait, that's even smaller than I thought. By a lot. Are you sure you don't have an extra 0 in there? That's crazy. I mean, this is a crazy small thing, but wow. I did not mean to click on that. That says 1.69%. Although it's AI, so who even fucking knows? Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, but the calculation is actually really obvious, isn't it? So what? 5,900 divided by 350,123 is, yeah, so 1.6%, isn't it? Because you times that by 100. Yeah. 1.6%. Where did you get 0.03% of? Did you go for 500,000? Yeah, 1.5%, which is like, you have to recognize that there's a huge flaw in your system if only 1.5% of a population goes to even be legally recognized as themselves. Like, that's nuts. That's so insane. And it's because the process is, like, it is pretty invasive. And it's just difficult. GRCs are really hard to get. So, yeah. Okay. Current system does not stop people from transitioning. It simply makes our lives harder, so much harder. Yeah. It's just so insanely small. Like, it's unbelievably small. Like, it's so small that just on its face should be considered evidence that there's a problem. Because, like, I don't know what you could even, like, think of that would be an explanatory thing for that, other than there's a flaw in the system. Because just, like, the only other thing that could make sense for it is if our society was, like, so transpositive that you don't need a GRC and it doesn't really gain you anything because you already have everything you could possibly want, which is definitely not the case with a GRC. It's something that certainly pre-Supreme Court hearing would be something that every trans person would want, because you definitely want the legal system to treat you as your gender as assigned by birth. Like, if I go to a hospital for any reason, I don't want to be in the fucking men's ward. For fuck. It's bullshit. Or just if I'm going to a fucking bathroom, and let's say this is somewhere that somehow they have a bathroom that makes sense as a single gender space, I'm not going into the fucking men's bathroom. What the fuck are you talking about? It's insane. And I think most trans people feel like that. They want to be in the assigned women's area, not the assigned men's area, or vice versa. So, yeah. It's very silly. Okay. Liberal Democrats have long supported reform of the GRA 2004 to make it less bureaucratic and intrusive. Our party policy is clear. We support removing the requirement for medical reports, recognising non-binary identities in law. That's crazy. Because we don't have anything like that from any other party. Recognising non-binary identities in law and ending the spousal veto. Very proposals that the Conservatives brought forward in 2018. We also believe in wider approach, expanding access to timely, high-quality healthcare and putting an end to all forms of conversion practices. Good for that. It's nice that that has is something that I believe is coming through. Like, didn't Labour recently, or was that just one of their promises? Labour and should I just put like trans conversion therapy? Is that something they did recently, or is that something that was one of their promises? Spectator? Okay. Okay, it looks like it was just one of their promises. New Labour government said it will introduce a conversion practices bill to ban practices aimed at changing or suppressing someone's gender identity or sexual orientation. We don't have a ban on gay conversion therapy here? That's crazy. Even America has a ban on that, don't they? That's nuts. How have we not got that? It says the bill will stop professionals offering support to those exploring their sexual orientation or gender identity, or those providing medical care and support. Wait. Oh, not stop. Okay, I was like, wait, what? Once a draft bill is published, it will undergo consultation before a full bill is formally introduced to Parliament. Okay, I thought we already had previous stuff. The Conservative government also worked to introduce a ban, but said banning conversion therapy practices related to gender identity was complex and required further consideration. It warned of unintended consequences which might affect teachers, parents, and therapists helping children who are struggling with their gender identity. An NHS commissioned report, which called for a rethink of children's gender identity services in England, said that some healthcare professionals already felt under pressure to take a purely affirmative approach to young people who said they wanted to transition. However, a number of medical practitioners said a ban which still allowed for explorative therapies was possible and had already been enacted in other countries. Yeah, this is obviously possible. This is a stupid point, because I fully agree with young people. You don't necessarily want to take a purely affirmative approach. You want to take a questioning approach. A questioning approach is not, what's the opposite of affirmative? Negative? Opposite of affirmative. It would be negative, right? Yeah, I feel like that doesn't really work in the context we're using it, but... Antonym, that's what I was looking for there. But yeah, taking a purely negative approach as well, like, is what would be being banned, not a exploratory approach. So I don't understand. This is a silly point. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it looks like it's a future thing. One of their promises. Okay. Lys Mara Roberts. I'm sure the Honourable Lady will know that when settling our last Supreme Court judgment, Lord Hodge cancelled against reading the judgment. What? Lord Hodge cancelled against reading the judgment as, so a quote, as a triumph of one or more groups in our society at the expense of another. Nonetheless, it has caused immense distress to the trans community. Does she agree that now is the time for the government to commit to a clear timetable for allowing transgender people to self-identify their legal gender so that they can live with dignity and respect with a basic human right? Okay. And just to keep a track of who's saying what. Okay, back to Dr. Savage. Dignity and respect are exactly what we are talking about, and I absolutely agree. For us, this is not about abstract debates, but about real lives, human beings, and the fundamental human right for someone to live safely, freely, and in their own truth. Yet today we find ourselves in a situation where one of society's smallest minorities is being targeted with hostility and violence. According to the 2021 census, only 0.5% of adults in England and Wales identified as trans or gender diverse, yet entire newspaper front pages and hours of political debate are dedicated to their existence. This toxic and hostile debate has real-world consequences. According to the Office of National Statistics, hate crimes against trans people have risen close to 200% since 2018. In 2023, of the nearly 5,000 transphobic hate crimes reported, only 126 led to prosecutions. Less than 3%. That's pretty crazy. This is not acceptable. Nearly half of all trans and gender diverse individuals have experienced sexual assault. I would need more information on that. I don't believe that statistic. That's an unbelievable statistic. Okay. Like, how many even sexual assaults do we get in the UK per year? Did it have nearly half? Okay. UK sexual assaults per year. I feel like I want a citation on this. This seems like an unbelievable statistic. Sexual offences in England and Wales. I love that we can just so easily get this data. Okay. The crime survey of provides best measurement of victimization and estimate 2.3% of adults aged 16 years and over were victims of sexual assault. Okay, so we're saying 2.3% jumping to 50% in... That seems nuts to me. Approximately 16.6% of adults aged 16 and over had experience. That seems kind of crazy. I also want to know exactly what's being defined as sexual assault here. Like, if you get your fucking ass grabbed in a bar, does that count? Because I feel like technically that counts, but like, we're clearly not saying the same thing here. Yeah, including attempts of sexual assault. I don't know what's being included here. Let's just Google it. Where does this statistic come from? UK, 50%. Let's just, hang on, let me, so I don't misquote it. Where is it? 2023, for nearly 5,000 transphobic hate crimes reported. Half of all trans and gender diverse individuals. Okay, 50% trans and gender diverse individuals. Sexual assault. Oh, sorry. No, I don't want trans women's offending rates. That's retarded. Where does this stat even come from? Okay, let's just do it as a direct quote. Hey, here we go. This is, PubMed is American though, isn't it? Yeah. Let's see what cohort they were looking at though. Yeah, this is talking about American stats. Maybe here? That's just violent victimization though. It's... What year did they say? March 2022. Wait, this is a different thing, sorry. Yeah, it worries me when we had such... Like, here's something that's clearly like figures and numbers, and then we get nearly half of all. You don't give me a number anymore, you just say nearly half of all. That's sus. And you don't give me a year or just anything here. It's strange and makes me doubt the claim, because this is a very extreme claim to make. Like, I understand I'm kind of going against like our side or whatever here, but like, this is a crazy, like, I know a variety of trans people. You're telling me that half of them have been sexually assaulted? That doesn't seem... That certainly goes against my lived experience. So I want to know exactly what they mean by this. Search for ONS. I don't know what that is, but we'll just Google it first. Oh, it's for national statistics. Yes, you are entirely right. I should be looking at that. Okay, ONS. Transgender and gender diverse sexual assault. Gender identity and crime. We could probably get to somewhere from this. I don't care about committing, I care about victims here. Number of trans women who are victims of crime. Do you just have... We'd have to compile all of this ourselves. That's really annoying. Okay, well, we're looking for How are you going to number them and then not number them? Okay, 1, 2. Okay, we want 3 and 4. No, we want... Wait, number of trans women who are victims of crime and the types of crimes. Oh, versus number of women here. Okay, I understand. So we want 3 and 4, as well as 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. 3 and 4 and 9 and 10. Okay. Which isn't in this bit. 9 is. Do not generally produce statistics on offenders and convictions. Okay. Victims by gender identity. Okay. Are you going to give it to me? How is it so hard to find this fucking statistic? I will say, chat, look for this as well, because I'm struggling here. Fuck off. Okay. Latest version. I don't fucking have this. Okay, hang on. I'll have to fucking open it in Drive. Give me a second. Drive. Downloads. Pop it into here. Okay, fingers crossed I can open that. Because I'm pretty sure that was made a thing in Sheets. Yes, it was. Fuck yeah. Okay, don't have my name anywhere. No names, no names, no names. Okay, cool. Got it. Okay, great. Perfect. This is what we wanted. Table of contents. Yes, please. Okay. Fuck, this is huge. Fucking. Oh, it's not that big, actually. Let's just put in Control F, sexual. It doesn't even. Okay, fuck me. Victims of whatever that is. Headline crime, personal crime, including fraud and computer misuse. Yeah, okay, that's all fine. Proportion of children victimized from last year. Number of times victims were victimized. Okay, 16 over. Okay, if I put in trans, I just hate this. Times victims were victimized. People ages 16 and over. Do you normally have this broken down by 8? What the fuck? Victimized more than once. Boo. Repeat victims. Reported to police of fraud. Trends and all of that. Local area. Experience of antisocial behaviour in local area. By personal characteristics. Maybe? None of this is giving me what I want, right? This doesn't have what I'm looking for. Right? Yeah, it's so annoying, soul strings. Trying to actually find stats. Yeah, have a lie down. Have a lie down. I hope this isn't what's making you anxious. Like, don't worry about it. It's all good. Dang, it's so frustrating trying to find any information. But this is sort of what I'm talking about here. Oh, here we go. Terminology used to label this data has been changed to sexual orientation from sexual identity to align with the terminology used in Legislation Equality Act 2010. Sexual orientation is an umbrella concept which encompasses sexual identity, attraction, and behaviour. This question described within this principle is based on a substantial body of research and is that whatever. Okay, let's just click on some. Gender identity, same as sex, which is birth, refers to whose gender identity is same as their sex at birth. Yeah. Okay, I see now. Okay, let's just quickly go through these. Is one of these about sexual assault? Fraud, computer misuse. Wait, is that it? Were victims Headline crime and personal crime. I don't even know what that is. Personal crime? Does that count as sexual assault? Experience victimization. I feel like victimization is so vague. Can you not give me, like, more specific? Oh, it's children anyway. 10 to 15. Victims were victimized. Oh, here we go. So injury, acquaintance, stranger. Okay, come on. This has got to be it, right? No, it's not it. It's not it. Ah. Come on. I feel it. We're close. Come on, please. We're not going to get this, are we? We're not going to get this. Boop, 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 boo. Reasons for not reporting. Transit experience. Okay. Okay, yeah. We're not getting this information, clearly. Dang it! I so thought we'd be able to find it here. Okay, this is kind of my point. I literally cannot find this statistic, which makes me think that this is a pulled out of your ass statistic of 50%. Half of all trans and gender diverse individuals have experienced sexual assault. I doubt this strongly. Yeah. Trans women without access to gender-affirming care are significantly more likely to attempt suicide. That is very well known. I don't know why I said trans women there, because that would be trans people. When five will try, while this is often painted as a cultural war, the human cost is painfully real. Last statistic I was aware of was 40% will try. So it's pretty crazy. Okay. Will Stone from Labour. It deeply saddens me to hear some of these statistics. Does the Honourable Member agree that what we say in this House matters? It ripples across communities, and regardless of what side of the argument someone is on, or where they sit on the issue, at the centre of the argument are people. Does she also agree that we should do our utmost to protect the trans community and make sure that they have the same rights as everyone else and can live in dignity? I wholeheartedly agree and associate myself with the Honourable Member's remarks. Let us take the example of Joelle, a trans woman who died of an eminently treatable cancer after waiting for 8 days on a general ward because clinicians could not agree whether she should be placed on a men's ward or a women's ward. That's insane. Is that real? What a crazy story. What the fuck? Trans woman cancer. Can I have... Is there not... Maybe this? Is it not like a BBC article or something? What the fuck? What? What are you getting this from, AI? What's your link here? Oh, just getting it from the Parliament debate. There's got to be some info about this, right? Are you a different person? So I'm a 52-year-old Joelle, whose cancer came back after 14 years of remission, enthusiastic sportswoman, compares her cancer to an ultramarathon that requires endurance, blah, 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 blah. Often feels forgotten because of the chronic nature of her illness. Okay, this implies that she's not passed away. Right? Yeah. Okay. And this one just isn't. No, it's the same person. Why didn't you give me a name here, a proper name? Joelle, a trans woman who died of an eminently treatable cancer after waiting for 8 days on a general ward because clinicians could not agree whether she could be placed in men's and women's ward. I mean, that's insane if true. I wish we could Google these things. For delaying treatment cost her life. This is not to mention the recent Supreme Court ruling and the devastating impact that its implications are having on trans people who are trying to get on with their living lives. Trying to get on with living their lives. I would love to hear more about this story. This is a crazy... What an insane story. Sure, do you guys have information about it on this fucking Reddit page? Gives right quotes from trans people. Please, okay. Full speech is there, I'll watch from there. Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody talking about what the actual thing is. Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to know more about this story. For fuck. Okay, well, let's just keep going. I feel like this is a crazy story and should be like, there's got to be articles about this. How, like, that's an insane story. Okay, especially in the wake of the Supreme Court hearing. How is there not like BBC articles on this? I missed that last line. The delay in treatment cost her life. That is not to mention for recent. Oh yeah, I did read that. It is a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, Mr. Mundell. I have many constituents who have been really affected by the Supreme Court's ruling. This is Labour / Co-op. Okay, 2 different constituencies. That's cool, I didn't know you could do that. I highlight one who works for the ambulance service. She has breasts and uses women's changing facilities without any issue. Were she to be forced into using other facilities, it would declare to everybody that her transgender status... Oh, it would declare to everybody her transgender status. She has lived as a woman and has a gender recognition certificate. Does the honourable member agree that this legal ruling creates a real mess that needs sorting out? Dr. Savage. I am keenly aware of the distress that the Supreme Court ruling has caused. It seems to fly in the face of common sense when somebody who is clearly living a life as a female would, under this ruling, have to go into male spaces. It beggars belief. The ruling hurts not only trans people, but any woman who does not conform to feminine norms, who may be challenged on entering a women's space. This is not just a legal rollback for trans rights, but a rollback for women's rights. A recent survey response from a parent said, I'm primarily worried about my trans daughter's safety as a result of the ruling. I'm also worried about my cis daughter's future and the increasing pressure to conform to restrictive gender stereotypes. A trans person responding to the same survey said that they felt stress, anxiety, and uncertainty for the future. More and more, they feel like they're having to shrink their life for their own protection. Sorry, I'm butchering actually reading right now. Not getting anything but what was said on the Joelle case makes me think it might not be true. Yeah, I don't know. Thing is, I don't know if it's just not a big enough story for it to be picked up. Like, that's entirely possible. But, yeah, I don't know. Crazy if true. I feel like this is something that they'd struggle to just make the fuck up. I feel like there'd be, like, serious repercussions for that, because you're just lying straight up. I don't know. It is a pleasure to serve. Wait, is that what I just read? No, it's not. It is a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, Mr. Mundell. I am struck by not only the Supreme Court ruling, but the interim guidance from the Equality and Human Rights Commission, which is causing extreme distress for a number of my constituents. I am having to rely on Margate Pride's own advice to business to businesses to reassure them about things in the ruling and the guidance. They should be taking into account that it is not legally binding and does not change the law, and that businesses should not feel pressure to rewrite or roll back their trans-inclusive policies based on the draft guidance alone. This situation, which interim guidance from the EHRC, is causing more stress and anxiety than the initial ruling. It is not acceptable for anyone. Anybody who thinks that the Supreme Court ruling is drawing a line or making things clear is greatly mistaken. Yeah, I agree with this. I absolutely agree. This already vulnerable group, many of whom struggle with mental health issues, are struggling even more as a result of the confusion arising from the ruling. I was quoting a trans person who responded to the survey. They continued, when discussions of safety have been in Parliament, there is a complete lack of empathy for the invalidation and fear trans individuals are experiencing. I say to that person and the other people in the trans community that I hope they are witnessing the empathy that is being expressed in this hall today. Government must modernise, simplify, clarify and reform the intrusive and outdated gender recognition law and bring in a new process, as they promised for the last general election. We are being told their current system is robust, but how can a system be robust when over 31,000 people are still waiting just for their first appointment at a gender identity clinic? Some will wait for more than 7 years. Many will never make it through the process. Not because they lack for seriousness, but because the bureaucracy is unbearable, as is the toll on their mental health. Public Health England said that over a third of trans people have attempted suicide at least once. A human tragedy is unfolding as a result of a lack of suitable support and enough resources to see trans people through the process. This does have, I don't even need to look it up, I already know that this statistic is true. Like I said, the most famous study on this shows that without care, trans people have a 40% suicide rate. So, attempted suicide rate. Okay. Boo. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, Mr. Mundell. In the Supreme Court ruling, the judge said that the Equality Act in 2010 applies to trans people. Does the Honourable Lady agree that we have been failing trans people for many years in this country, despite the fact they are covered by the Equality Act? That has to change. Okay, when do we hear from the opposition? Come on, this is just a little bit of a circle jerk. I wholeheartedly agree that equality means equality. That equality means equality, no matter who the individual concerned may be. Even the government's much lauded £5 GRC fee is meaningless. I don't know what that is. They only charge £5 for GRC. It's meaningless when the necessary private medical reports, blood tests, and hormone prescriptions cost thousands. This is simply inaccessible to many people. It is not a system of integrity, but one of delay, expense, and quiet exclusion, leading to quiet desperation. Meanwhile, there are some rays of hope. Organisations such as the Trans Legal Clinic are stepping in to fill the gap. Founded just 3 years ago, the clinic now supports trans people across the UK with legal issues relating to discrimination, housing, gender-based violence, and access to care. Its staff are underpaid, its clients often arrive in crisis, and its work is saving lives. Its message to us as parliamentarians is clear. Legal recognition reduces suicide risk. Gender recognition reform would directly improve mental health outcomes. We need to get past this toxic debate and focus on the urgent reality of trans people who face violence, homelessness, and systemic neglect. Let me bring back the music. Sorry. Music. Again, Soul Strings Bandcamp, if you want to support the music that we are receiving here. And a huge thanks to Soul Strings for bringing us some freaking music. Hells yeah. If I scroll up a whole bunch. If you want to support the music being provided to you right now for free, head to Soul Strings' Bandcamp. Okay, I wholeheartedly agree that equality means equality. Yeah, we read that bit. We also read this bit. I'll end this speech with simple reflection. There are As far as I'm aware, no trans MPs in this chamber, but we all have trans constituents, and we all have the capacity to imagine. Imagine waking up tomorrow exactly as you are, same body, same mind, but the world is treating you as somebody that you are not. They call you by the wrong name. They dismiss what you say because they do not see beyond the gender issue. That is the daily experience of many trans people in the UK. Okay, I'm guessing this is where opposition starts to come in. The Honourable Lady has made a comprehensive opening statement on behalf of the Petitions Committee, so I thank her for that. Does she agree that trans voices are often left out when we talk about these issues and have this debate? We need to remember that there are humans on the other side of this, and we need to listen to our trans community when we make decisions that directly impact their lives. I have worked closely with a member of my team who is a trans person in preparing this speech. It has been eye-opening for me as a cis woman to find out so much about the toll on members of the trans community as they try to navigate these impossible systems. I could have put so much more in this speech that would only arouse even more compassion. In my own small way, I am doing what I can today to try to be that voice for the trans community, which, as the honourable member said, is not heard enough in this debate. To any trans person listening to today's debate, to any trans person listening to I can't say today's debate. To any trans person listening to today's debate, please know that even in our parliament, where your voice is still too often missing, there are people who see and hear you, and who will fight for your right to be yourself. As parliamentarians, we have a choice. We can stoke fear and division, or we can show leadership. Let us choose dignity and compassion. Let us choose to recognise people who they are let us choose to recognise people for who they are as individuals and give them the legal recognition and protection they deserve. Okay, I'm not hearing any arguments. Give me some arguments. This is just thanks for the glaze, but give me an actual argument, please. I remind honourable members that they should bob if they wish to be called. That must be a a court thing, not court thing, like a government thing. I will not set a time limit, but if honourable members keep their speeches to around 7 minutes, everyone will get to make a meaningful contribution. Okay, here we go. These look like arguments now. All right. Oh, excuse me. Okay. So, Mr. Richard Quigley from Labour. It is a pleasure to serve under your chairship, Mr. Mundell. I thank the honourable member for South Cotswold, Dr. Savage, for introducing this important debate. Although, as MPs, we must respect the independence and authority of the judiciary, the recent ruling does not solve anything. Let us be clear that the ruling does not absolve us from our ongoing responsibility to the trans community. Our duty to respect, support and advocate for their rights remain as vital as ever. I am deeply troubled by the rhetoric that has taken hold in recent years, which has been appropriated by those seemingly seeking to sow division and manufacture culture wars at the expense of people who already face hardship and discrimination in our society. It is disheartening to see figures including the leader of the opposition appear to wear their transphobia as almost a badge of honour. We must not forget that our words in this House matter and can really impact the most vulnerable. Like many members, I came into politics to champion minorities and to give a voice to the voiceless. It is vital that we remember the power we hold to raise the tone of debate, rather than lowering it, and to support the vulnerable, not scapegoat them. Oh, hang on, my dog is barking. I'll be right back. Hey, what are we barking at? Oh, what are we barking? Okay, she's now outside. Let me just check on her. No, she wants to play, but I'm streaming right now, so I'll have to play later. Okie dokie. Trans people simply want to live in peace, not to be demonized or turned into a convenient political target during times of national difficulty. Our constituents, by and large, are not fixated on which toilets people use. They want change, improved lives, and well-funded services. I'm concerned by the growing narrative that improving trans rights somehow threatens the rights of dignity of women and girls. I will not deny that in places such as for prison service, there have been troubling examples of individuals playing the system to gain access to women's spaces. We must acknowledge and address these concerns seriously. Yeah. I can acknowledge that I'm definitely going to be people that tried to game that. I don't know how common it is though. And I feel like this is very easily solved by just, again, you go into the prison, you have your diagnosis for. Scrap GRCs for just diagnosis. It just seems so much more sensible. Because immediately you get rid of all of these things. Okay. Oh, but I fully agree. This culture war shit is just. Ugh. I feel like the only reason trans people are talked about is because of culture war stuff, and not because of anything to do with actual trans anything. But yeah, trans people simply want to live in peace. Wait, we've read that. But when I hear some opposition members declare themselves to be champions of women's rights, well, what they might if they were here. Well, they might if they were here. I ask not only where they are now, but where they have been for the last 15 years. When violence against women and girls skyrocketed, where was the legislation? When women's shelters were chronically underfunded, where was the outrage? When domestic abuse cases surged while court access diminished, where was the action? When male perpetrators played the legal system to harass their victims, where was the advocacy? I do not raise those matters just to score political points, but to prompt reflection. If a person's defence of women's rights surfaces only in opposition to trans rights, I question whether it is truly about supporting women or simply a way to target trans people under that guise. I stand not to provoke argument, but to urge every honourable member in this chamber to remember the human beings behind our words, and their families, their communities, and their lives. Hate crimes against trans people are rising. We are failing in our duty as MPs if we do not accept some responsibility for the tone and consequence of our discourse. Yeah, this is super true. Especially when you look at, parties like fucking Reform. I'm sorry, where was Reform to do with anything with women's rights ever before this issue came up? Reform has never talked about women's rights. So how are you suddenly oh yeah, we're the party of women's rights and supporting women's rights? What? You're the fucking party of fucking immigration and shit. That's your thing. You've never, this has never been an issue for the Reform Party. So I have zero belief that they have any care about women's issues. Unless it's just to shit on trans people. I've never seen it outside of a trans context. They've literally never mentioned it when the context isn't trans people. So. My honourable friend highlights an important issue. Many people have been in touch with me who are very frightened because of the Supreme Court ruling. Does he agree that not only do we need to speak here, but that the government needs to make sure that the interim guidance is quickly firmed up as proper guidance? Because the interim guidance is causing confusion and fear for so many people. Yeah, the interim guidance is insane. It literally says toilets, bathrooms in the interim guidance, which makes no fucking sense in any world. And only makes things difficult for literally everybody. You have men cleaning women's toilets. Your male staff members clean women's toilets and have been for years. This has been common practice in public toilets. What the fuck? It's a fucking toilet. Let me go piss. Why are you being so insane? This is ridiculous. Mr. Quigley, I agree entirely. As you've seen many times over the last 14 years, words matter. Ultimately, the petition before us is rooted in compassion, dignity, and basic respect, principles that are unmistakably British. Respect for others, fairness, and standing up for the vulnerable are values in which we rightly take pride. I hope that we can all agree on the simple truth that trans people are not the enemy, and that the power we hold in this place must be used to uplift, not to vilify. My message to all of us here today is that we should not lose sight of that responsibility. Okay. We're getting a lot of circle jerking here. Can we have some of the because clearly this didn't go through. So let's have some of the against, please. Oh shit, we are like 20% in. Okay, I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Okay, wait, this is an against. SNP. This is the Scottish National Party. Okay. Thank you for chairing this debate, Mr. Mundell. I congratulate the honourable member for South Cotswold on moving the motion on behalf of the Petitions Committee. I will focus on the text of the petition by talking specifically about what a gender recognition certificate is and is not needed for. A person does not need a GRC to update their driving licence, blah, 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 passport, medical records, yeah. They do not need one to go into a toilet or changing room, nor do they need a birth certificate to go into a toilet or changing room, I hasten to add. Well, they don't, because they can't go into a toilet or changing room, regardless. No, you need a birth certificate to go. Oh, like you don't need one on you to go into the toilet. Yeah, but you can't go into a toilet you want to go in. Point of a GRC is to allow someone to update their birth or adoption certificate. That allows them the human right of privacy. A gender recognition certificate allows someone to get married from civil. Again, it allows them that privacy. It allows them and their partner to have the correct genders on their marriage or civil partnership. It's not just for marriage stuff though. Like, come on. A GRC also allows someone to have their affirmed gender on their death certificate. Imagine if your partner, father, Those are the things a GRC allows someone to do. It might also change their pension entitlements. Okay, there's a lot more than this though. A GRC is supposed to just legally treat you as your gender. In all areas of law, which is, even if you're not had surgery, you can apply even if you're not had surgery. Mention the issues of gender affirming care and gender identity clinics and the extremely long waiting lists for initial appointments. Imagine if people, okay, this isn't really against, but I'm going to mention implemented self-declaration of legal gender without any detriment and, okay, here we go, the actual point of it. Does the Honourable Lady agree that jurisdictions have implemented the self-declaration of legal gender without any detriment and without any of the debates we have had in this country, even without those reforms? For instance, Ireland has an act providing self-declaration. Best person agrees. I want someone to disagree. Come on. We'll read this bit. I'm not a lawyer, but my reading in this is that the Supreme Court tried to work out what was in the minds of the politicians who passed the Equality Act in 2010. This is a difficult thing to do because I cannot say what is in my mind right now, never mind 15 years ago. The Supreme Court tried to interpret that, and it came down on the side of saying that politicians were talking about biological sex when it comes to single-sex spaces. For example, the Equality Act mainly focuses on things like discrimination rather than single-sex spaces, which are tangentially side mentioned in the Act. My understanding is that someone can now only be discriminated against on the basis of biological sex or on the basis of their transgender identity, so not their transgender gender, but their identity as a transgender person. That removes a huge amount of protection for transgender people. Obviously. It's so bizarre when they say, do you not agree with this? When they know they're going to agree. It's very, Okay, come on. Can we have, the dissenting opinion? What the fuck? This one is again from... Okay, this is from someone else. Kingdom is lows. Okay, you're clearly on this side of it. In the agreement. Pleasure to serve. I mean, it's good to see that there's clearly a lot of people on our side within the government. But how did this end up going the other way? given we have all of this agreement. Okay, let's read this bit a little bit. Is this relevant for this bit? Ooh, okay. This is a disagreement, finally. It is a pleasure to serve under your chairship, Mr. Mundell. In 2016, the Scottish Government announced their intention to reform the GRA in Scotland and to introduce self-ID. Years followed, and the Gender Recognition Reform Scotland Bill was introduced to the Scottish Parliament in 2022. Since then, according to statistics that started to be published in 2023, waiting times for gender identity clinics appointments have been increasing. In June that year, a bunch of people were waiting for an appointment, with 45 people waiting longer than 5 years. At 31st of March 2024, that increased to 400 more people, with 184 people waiting longer than 5 years. Transgender identity aggravated crime charges have also doubled, from approximately 40 in 2016 to 2017 to more than 80 in most years since 2021, which is unacceptable and must be acted on and improved, but is not improving the lives of transgender people. That doesn't necessarily follow. If they're saying that they're recognizing self-ID, then they're recognizing more people. You cannot use absolute figures when you're just talking about when the absolute figures have just increased, right? We need to control for that using percentages or something, per capita. What is a per capita crime rate? Is it the same? Because if it's the same, then nothing happened with regards to these things. If it reduced, then something happened. You can't just use an absolute figure here. What is the per capita? This is retarded. Many people have faced abuse, intimidation, and threats for expressing any concerns about or opposition to self-identification. I know people whose careers have suffered or have been cancelled or dismissed, and respected academics who have been targeted. Cancelled? Are you really talking about politicians? Cancelled is some fucking Twitter shit. What are we talking about here? This is stupid. Fucking cancelled. I don't care about whether you lost Twitter followers. If you have a retarded position, then yeah, you're gonna lose Twitter followers. What, you know? I've witnessed placards inciting violence and sexually aggressive language towards women. We currently have a terrible situation of nurses being taken to employment tribunals for standing up for their rights, which are provided in the Equality Act 2010. Those threats and that intimidation are almost always targeted at women. Notice how you don't give us any fucking detail on any of that. We currently have terrible situation of nurses being taken to employment tribunals. For what? For standing up for their rights? What does that mean? What did they do? Where's the detail? Hello? For standing up for their rights. What rights? What did they say? What did they do? What was the tribunal over? This is completely lacking any substance at all. What a ridiculous point to make. During the passage of the bill, Scottish ministers repeatedly said it was the most consulted on bill in the history of de-evolution. Do we really only have one E there? Devolution? However, consultation is only meaningful if the feedback is listened to. One of the areas ignored by Scottish ministers was prison placements. Self-ID was already being implemented in the prison estate across the UK. This seems silly. The issue was raised in the House in February 2019 after a woman was sexually assaulted in HMP New Hall. The then UK government ordered a policy review. The Scottish government did nothing. This is just one example where the Scottish government ignored warnings, leaving them to defend the indefensible. In the Supreme Court case brought by 4 Women in Scotland, Scottish ministers argued that for the purpose of sex under the Equality Act, a woman would be a biological woman, a person who had a gender recognition certificate identifying as a woman, or a person who self-identified as a woman. Had the Scottish ministers won, it would have meant that the rights of one protected characteristic would prevail over rights of another. Again. Yeah, but now you just done it the other way around, where it's still that happening. A concern just on the other way around. A concern raised during the consultation that was not listened to and has been borne out in practice. Yeah, that's just such a stupid point. Like, you're saying first of all, one set of rights isn't trumping another set of rights. Second of all, now that is happening. Like, now you have just taken away some trans rights. Nuts. In one example, from March this year, councillors who strongly support self-ID attempted to defund Edinburgh's Women's Aid. The reason for doing so was that it provided some services that did not include trans people. That Women's Project provides single-sex services, refuge and support for women, and lawful exemption is provided for in the Equality Act. Yeah, I don't know anything information about that. Does my honourable friend agree that threat to the funding for Edinburgh's Women's Aid was an absolute disgrace, and that we should be ashamed that we even discussed in Edinburgh? It was even discussed. Tracy Gilbert, were you in an earlier one? Tracy Gilbert after Dr. Scott Arthur. Oh yeah, okay, Tracy Gilbert is who we've just heard from. Man, I wish we had... Okay, I'm not going to read through all of this because this is huge. And I did not realise how huge this was going to be. I really don't like how we have like it's so hard to fucking read through. We have like, and I guess this is just how it's done, but we have like 10 fucking things on one side and then 10 fucking things on the other side and then 10 fucking, like, there's no back and forth. Why do we not have a back and forth? I don't understand. If a trans person has to out of themselves every time they go to the toilet, does the honourable member believe, like me, that fundamentally conflicts with the right to privacy and the European Convention on Human Rights? Yeah, okay. How long is the actual video debate? Because this is a lot, I am now realising. Okay. Gender self-identification debate. Do we just have it in video form? Oh my god, it was a 3-hour debate. No wonder it's so huge. Okay. You know what? I can't bothered. Maybe if I had my meds. But this is way too big. We know what the result was. They said, no, fuck you, kill yourself. So, yeah. Okay. Whatever. Alright. I'm moving on. Point is, they've decided that no self-ID. And it was a silly point to go for anyway. Just go for diagnosis. Like, that's a huge improvement from where we are already. So, go for diagnosis. It's just, it makes way more sense. Yeah. That's where I'm leaving it. Okay. Alright, well that was my only topic to talk about today. And I have just done it to exhaustion. I'm sure you are all exhausted. So, let's wrap up. Okay, in terms of what we have coming up, I should not be looking at my calendar on here. One, because that is the wrong thing, and two, because I was going to bring my info. So let's just do it on my phone. Calendar. Okay, so our next thing is going to be Saturday. Saturday, 7 o'clock BST, so 7 o'clock UK time. Yeah, that is when the next workshop is going to be. So make sure you are there for the workshop. TLDR, they recognise the GRC are flawed due to needing a medical diagnosis, which under NHS, but self-ID would fix it, but open a can of worms. Okay, that's cool. I'll probably watch this in my own time at some point, and maybe we'll come back to this issue. But this is way too big. It's too much. It's too much. But yeah, Good with a recognised GRC is flawed. Again, though, in my opinion, the flaw isn't the need of a medical diagnosis. The flaw is that medical diagnoses take a long time. So it's the wrong... You're approaching the issue from the wrong area. Like, the solution is to reduce waiting list times, not to change how GRCs work. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Saturday is the next workshop. So make sure you are there. Saturday, 7 o'clock. It is our main event. So make sure you're there for that. It's like a 3 to 4 hour workshop. You'll learn a ton. So make sure you're there for that. There's also... What have we got coming up? We have Tuesday 27th is where we're going to have the public lesson with Jaden. And then Wednesday 28th, we're having the giveaway. I need to plan it still. I'll get it organised tonight. But my plan is we're just going to have a big-ass 12-hour stream. I don't think I have anything booked in. So yeah, big-ass 12-hour stream where we're literally going to spend like 9 till 9 or something like that. Probably 9 till 9. Just public teaching. So we'll call it like the Zara teaching open hours or some shit, open office. And literally we'll do like 2 or 3 workshops during that time. And then whenever we're not doing a workshop, I will just be in a bunch of VCs and anyone can just drop in and get some help. Like just anybody for as long as they want to, unless a queue starts to form, can just get some help with anything they want. So make sure you go there because it's basically just free lesson, free drop-in lesson. So yeah, come by for that. And in between, like when we've just got nothing going on, we'll just play some like video games and some stuff. Okay, so make sure you're there Wednesday 28th. Okay, that is everything. If you're wanting lessons, ordinary lessons, make sure you swing by the Discord, head to the #101 lessons, so you can book yourself in for lessons. Our public lessons, like you saw at the beginning of this stream, are completely free. You just have to sign up and you get them. They're free. And then the private lessons are £20 per lesson. So yeah, all good stuff. Obviously, we do a lot of very, very like low-priced services here at Trans Network, as well as just free services. So if you want to support that and just help us with the funding, because the funding is very difficult, head over to the Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/transnetwork. We have Mihuggy in chat right now, just to shout them out a little bit, because Mihuggy does support us. So huge thank you to Mihuggy. Yeah. Is there anything else I need to mention? I think that's everything, right? Subscribe to the YouTube if you're not already. Get yourselves subscribed. And yeah, I think that's everything. I'll see you all next time. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you all on Saturday. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye-bye.